So I'm super excited for today's session. And as you can see, I have two fantastic speakers today, Ramona Sartipi and Jackie Liu. And over the next half an hour, we'll explore some of the best practices for designing effective user onboarding experiences. And we'll hear from Ramona and Jackie about their experiences in the field. We'll be sharing as much information as we can during this time. And while we may not be able to answer all of your questions, we encourage you to send them over at lucina@userpilot.co. I will write it down in the chat in a bit. And I will make sure to answer all the questions you might have. So Ramona, Jackie, thank you both for joining me today. Would you take a moment to introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, of course. It's actually part of our presentation, so I'll just start sharing. Hold on. Let's go here. So I'm guessing you can see my screen, yes, hopefully.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much, Lucine. So today, Jackie and I will be presenting the best practices and strategies and our learnings in implementing an onboarding experience from scratch. And here's our introduction. So I'm Ramona. I'm currently a UX designer at Watson Assistant. It's basically an AI chatbot tool at IBM. I'm based in Toronto, and I've been with IBM for almost 4 years, and I worked really closely with Jackie in my earlier years on growth hacking and product onboarding. She was my lead, and I will pass it on to her to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name's Jackie. I'm also based in Toronto. I work at IBM for about 6 years, and during which time I led the Cognos Analytic Onboarding Experience. And currently, I work as a design system manager at Ecobee.
Thanks, Jackie. So the agenda today is the following. We'll give you a brief background of our product, the state it was in before we introduced onboarding. We'll go through the problem, goals, and solution, and the decisions we made based on our time and resources. And then we'll summarize some of the best practices based on our key takeaways. And overall, we hope that you take back some inspiration and knowledge from our experience. For those who are new to UX, welcome. And I hope that this will give you an idea of the thought process behind deploying a project within an enterprise level company.
Thank you, Ramona. If that's okay for you, can you stop sharing your screen? I will just share a short presentation about today's event, and yeah, we can get started with it. We'll get back to it in a bit. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. A little housekeeping before getting started. So as the webinar contains internal strategies of IBM, the recording will be edited and the parts that contain confidential data will be removed. So feel free to take notes during the presentation. So for those who joined us for the first time, so I'm Lucine, the demand generation manager at UserPilot. 1 second. Yeah. So UserPilot is a product grow company platform that helps with user onboarding and engagement, product analytics, user sentiment, and a lot more. Today, we're going to talk about user onboarding UX, which refers to the process of introducing your new users to a product or service and guiding them through its features and functionality. And at UserPilot, we offer free onboarding audits to SaaS companies where we go over their sign-up process and share feedback on how they can improve it. And I want to share the worst onboarding experience I had so you won't repeat these mistakes and will keep your onboarding simple but engaging at the same time. And I actually have tried to recreate their onboarding and will show you what I got in a bit. I don't want to mention the name of the company, but the onboarding process was like a virtual game of sailing across the high seas. During the audit, I found myself like navigating a virtual ship, battling sea monsters and searching for treasure, all while trying to figure out how to actually use the product. And at one point, I accidentally clicked on a button that triggered the cannon to fire, causing my ship to capsize and forcing me to start the process again. And like finally, after what felt like hours of swashbuckling and high sea adventure, I reached the end of the onboarding process. Imagine like you sign up to test a product and a welcome screen appears with multiple elements battling for your attention. Product tour, hotspots, tutorial videos, pop-ups for email subscription, notifications about the latest blog post, and so on. You can still use them, I mean, but not all together and not on the welcome screen, because most people feel overwhelmed when they have too many choices. When the app throws 1,000 options at you even before you have warmed up, things are most likely to go south. So this mostly happens because product managers don't add secondary or even thirdly onboarding to the flow. For the most product managers, onboarding ends right after user activation, but the different stages of user onboarding are correlated with different product growth goals and metrics: user activation, adoption, conversion, future engagement, etc., etc. And like product folks who own their product growth metrics and KPIs, they know they will never be done because new user onboarding is just a tiny fraction of your user experience layer. And fortunately, at the end of the onboarding audit, the product manager with whom I had the audit accepted my feedback and streamlined the onboarding process, replacing the pirate-themed adventure with a more straightforward and user-friendly experience. You can see the example here. I really tried to recreate the onboarding flow. And yeah, now I want to, so we have seen what not to do, and now I want to show you an example of what can you achieve with a well-designed onboarding. One of our clients, Contentino, was able to increase their new user activation rate by 10% in the first month using User Pilot. And this resulted in a significant improvement in user engagement and retention, as users were able to get started with Contentino more easily. So now let's see how they achieved these results. So they start their welcome flow with a micro survey to segment their users and personalize their user journey. And next, Hannah from Contentino gives you a personal welcome in a model inside the app. And after pressing Let's Start, you will be guided to link your account and schedule your first post, because these are the two key activation points for a social media scheduler. Because Contentino, it's a social media management tool that enables businesses to create and manage social media content. So after that, Contentino will guide you through a skillful combination of tooltips and driven actions. So you can see that they still use models, tooltips, and all the things that I mentioned earlier, but everything in its time. So yeah, this was my presentation for today. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here and let's hear from Ramona and Jacqueline. Okay, just a second. I think you can start sharing, Ramona.
Perfect. Thank you. 1 second. All right. Thank you so much for that introduction. It was definitely, we wish we saw that 3 years ago so we could use that in our product as well. But you guys saw the agenda. I'm going to pass it on to Jackie to get us started.
Yeah, so the product we work on is called Cognos Analytics. It's an AI-powered data analytic platform that allows users to gather data from various sources, analyze it, and create interactive report and dashboard. So IBM acquired the product back in 2008, and over time, through multiple redesign and our integration with Watson AI, it became smarter and more efficient. It transformed into a highly functional and technical product in the data science space. By the time Ramona and I were involved, the strategy focus became user adoption, and we were responsible for introducing new users to see the value of our product within the trial experience. Just a disclaimer that this project was done 3 years ago, and all information shared today is an estimate. It does not reflect IBM's current state, views, or recommendation. Great, so let's get deeper into the problem. Why is user onboarding so important? I will illustrate with this scenario. Let's imagine you're a new user to Cognos Analytics. You learn about it through this talk and want to try the cool Watson Power Dashboard Builder. You navigate to the site and register the trial and land on the dashboard and decided to upload your first set of data. Easy, right? Well, unfortunately, we found that there was a significant drop off throughout this entire journey. Um, this was the previous experience before Ramona and I got involved. User were prompt to register. Once the registration was done, user land in the home page, and action we really want user to do is to upload their own data so they can see how powerful Cognos is. So just want to give you some context on how significant the drop off is. From the moment the user register to when they headed to the dashboard, we've already lost 36% of our potential users. From the dashboard to uploading data, we lost another 35%, making us lose around 60% of our potential clients solely in the simple journey. This is very significant. So our core challenge is how do we retrain users in our onboarding flow? How do we get users to see the value and then the wow in our product to increase the chance of them becoming active users? So we wanted a robust, scalable solution that will help us to do this. For MVP, we decided that a guided step-by-step tutorial will allow our user to quick understand and reach the wow moment. It also is an easy way to experiment, instrument, and measure our user success. When started the project, budgeting and resources are always an issue. We are not able to hire a dedicated team to spend time and implemented a custom onboarding solution in-house. So we look for some help. Yeah, we ended up leveraging two no-code platform, AppQ and WalkMe. They are both great tools to create interactive on-screen onboarding and support without knowing code. When choosing the right product, understanding your team structure is essential for your solution success. For this project, we were engineering heavily, but most of the effort was design led. Design held the role of initiators, product managers, designer, and implementer. That means Ramona and I and the other designers were doing most of the work, including implementation. Our eng, data, SRE, and QA serve as a consultant, but don't do the actual work. I will pass the ball to Ramona now to go over the MVP and then the North Star experience.
Thanks, Jackie. So for any experiment, it's really important to have an aggressive timeline for MVP in order to learn fast, to iterate rapidly, and improve. We gave ourselves 1 month to ship a step-by-step guided tour to highlight the 3 key areas of the product. And each tour was around 7 to 17 steps. There's no significance to these numbers of steps. We were just experimenting and trying to understand what worked and what didn't. So since we have a diverse pool of users, for example, we have business analysts, data scientists, executives, we really needed something varied, relevant, and self-serving for our users. And an analogy that we used for this tour was those books that you would read as a child, Choose Your Own Adventure. So for our first launch, we greeted our users with a pop-up. They were prompted to choose between 3 tours that highlighted commonly used sections in our product. And within each tour, the users were introduced to basics and guided in completing an actionable item like creating their first asset. So in order to keep our users engaged and feeling accomplished, we gave them a to-do list after every completion of every tour. So shortly after our launch, we noticed 2 things. Our tours were working. We reduced the drop-off rate by 10%, and more people were staying on our product. But we also noticed that users were dropping off in the middle of our tours. So we spent around like a week exploring ways to resolve this issue. And part of our exploration was user testing. So we tested a handful of users to discover that 70% of our participants dropped off the tours accidentally. So majority felt like they also didn't learn much from the tours. It didn't give them that wow moment or a good understanding of the value of the product. And 88% felt like the tours were just way too long. And this really helped us understand why people were dropping mid-tour. So naturally, we decided to get more creative with our strategy. We focused on the more holistic user onboarding journey, so increasing our scope and making the starting point outside of the product. So the moment the user lands on our marketing site, how can we help them understand the value of the product and feel confident in signing up for the trial? So through user research, we found out that users want more interactive demos and use cases before committing to a trial. So when the user landed on our marketing page, we gave them 2 options. One, start with a trial, or you could do a no commitment walkthrough of a demo. So we created an interactive story to highlight Cognos Analytics' value through storytelling. And this asset was surprisingly a very big success. It was actually adopted as an artifact with our sales teams. So once the user is committed to the trial, we greeted them with an improved guided tutorial. We overlaid step-by-step tutorials on nearly completed templates and guided users in finishing them. This really helped users understand the value of the product immediately in areas that they wouldn't normally discover until later in the user journey. So we also introduced something called incremental learning, so tracking our users' behavior and reacting to them in constructive ways. For example, if we notice a user is rage clicking or clicking on a component continuously, we'll provide them additional assistance through tooltips or pop-ups. So now let's go through the entire journey, and we're going to imagine again that we're new Cognos Analytics users, which I'm guessing most people on the call are. So you look up on Cognos Analytics on Google, and you land on the marketing site. And within a few seconds, you notice 2 things that you can do. Start a trial, view an interactive demo. You're not ready to commit to a trial, so you decide to do this interactive demo. And within the demo, you're introduced with a story of 2 familiar characters. You see how they've used Cognos Analytics to streamline their business, and it piques your curiosity. So you decide to sign up for the trial, and you land in the product. So here you're given plenty of entryways of resources and help to get you started. You decide to explore some more, and you notice that you can either start from scratch or start from a template. On the top here, you notice that there's a page where you can watch videos by our expert user who walks through the fundamentals of Cognos Analytics and some of the elements that are most used. And you also are able to access our revamped guided tour, which is filled with scenarios that help you complete a polished template. So here we also introduce incremental learning. So after you feel comfortable with the product and you're using it on your own, you'll have subtle behavior-based hints that will help you guide through your goals and intentions in the product. So after deploying these changes, we received really incredible results. We increased our user engagement by 40%, which exceeded our original goal and hypothesis by 10%. We also increased sales revenue by 51% after launching our onboarding experience. We were also able to package our implementation, also the learnings that we got through this entire experience, and share it across our product teams to use. Um, so it was definitely very scalable for us. So I'm going to pass it off to Jackie to go through our takeaways, and we will conclude the presentation after that.
Yeah, thanks, Ramona. So, as mentioned before, Ramona and I were primarily responsible for the onboarding process, including implementation. But we encounter situation where we needed help from a developer. For example, we requested additional HTML attribute to tag the onboarding tool to element in the product. We also faced backend conflict with the no-code platform and had to rely on our engineering partner for assistance. However, as they are not dedicated resources for this project, they were sometimes unable to prevent timely help due to their workload. So here are some key takeaway. So number one, it is very important to have at least one developer involved in the onboarding process, even when using a no-code platform, to ensure technical issues are addressed and to handle any necessary customization that may require coding expertise. Number two, onboarding is a critical component of the user experience and should not be an afterthought. By considering the entire user journey from the outset, we can ensure a seamless and intuitive experience leading to higher user engagement and satisfaction. QA is critical for seamless onboarding via no-code platform, especially with evolving product. Testing ensure no error occur due to product changing, maintaining onboarding quality, and preventing user disruptions. Lastly, when using no-code platform for onboarding in large enterprise team, it is important to ensure all relevant teams are aware of the platform you're using to prevent accidental interference or removal of any necessary HTML tagging and facilitate the effective collaboration between teams. So I'll pass the ball back to Ramona.
Thanks, Jackie. So you can see that we've learned a lot in a relatively short amount of time through user research, experimentation, and creative solutioning with the little resources that we had. But overall, we've learned lots throughout this whole project, and we're happy that it came back with positive results. Although both Jackie and I are no longer in the same team, the onboarding process is being really well maintained and improved upon by our talented designers at Cognos Analytics currently, who I think right now some may be watching. So with that said, thank you so much for listening. We do have some job openings and career opportunities if you're interested in working for IBM or Ecobee. At IBM, we're hiring lots of jobs in really exciting domains like AI and cybersecurity. So if you would like, and if you're interested, you can scan this QR code right now for any referrals and any job postings that you're interested in. Please do reach out to me for, through LinkedIn or anything. So I'm going to pass it to Jackie.
Yeah, so we're also hiring a few roles at Ecobee, but I want to highlight this design manager role. We're looking for a design manager to lead our energy team strategy. If you're a talented leader in design with a passion for sustainability, we want to hear from you. Yeah, you can. Well, we prefer candidate from Canada, but we welcome applicant from US or UK. Yeah, you can scan the QR code to view the job post. In addition to the design manager role, our design team will also be hiring an intermediate designer and a design system technical lead in Q2 or Q3. Also, there's no job post for this role yet. We encourage people who are interested to reach out to me. If you think you will be a good fit, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Great. So I think we've completed this talk. We'll pass it off to you, Lucine. Thank you. Thanks
Thank
everyone
you,
for listening.
girls.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for the presentation. It was very informative. I do have a question as we have like few minutes left. The guides that you had created for the user onboarding, were they like reusable or it was just for one time?
You mean if it's reusable for our product?
Yeah.
No, it's very specific to our product.
No, I mean, the users, could they like see the guide again? Like
Oh
watch the
yes, yeah,
guide again?
yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can.
Or it was just, oh, okay. Got it. And did you also implement like secondary onboarding for more advanced features, or it was just primary onboarding?
Yeah, so one thing that Ramona did not show is that when you first got into the product, we asked you a few questions, and we will, based on those questions, we'll know what level, what type of user you are, and then we will put like a catered onboarding based on your expertise.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you again for joining me today, and thank you, everyone. I hope you found the presentation informative, and I hope you will join our upcoming presentations as well. So, thank you, girls. Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we wrap up?
I see that there's one more question, so I'm happy to answer. So, what do you think is one of the most common mistake you see in the
Mm-hmm.
process? I think the common mistake is something that I mentioned is that, oh, this is a no-code solution, so design and PM owns this. So people are not seeing it's a holistic experience, and then with the enterprise team, some communication could be broken. So it's very important to inform your team and make sure you have the technical team and make sure your flow are tested frequently because we have all these different environment and then the HTML tagging could be different and it could cause the flow broken. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a like a
Mhm.
small tip. They can like you can always sign up for your product weekly. So if there is anything broken, you will see earlier than your users before they drop off.
Yeah.
I see we don't have any other questions. Do you want to add anything?
No, thanks so much for having us, and thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you, Ramona. Thank you, Jackie. Have a great day. Have a
Yeah,
great
you
day,
too.
everyone.